As morning arrived, everyone gathered back in the bar area to lay out the plan, which wasn't much with what knowledge they had. Jace, Popa, Hayden, Smith-Jones, Fuzzley, and Jeffrey, after being convinced by the party, would set out and simply walk through the front door, investigating where they could along the way. 2 objectives: find out information regarding Facelinks and find an exit portal out of this place. If totally successful, the party would accomplish both at the same time. A simple plan, for a much more complex day that was about to unfold. They kept a low profile through the streets, making as little noise as possible for the half-day's worth of travel. When they made their way up the winding hill path that led directly up to the structure, they got a closer look at the exterior. In dollhouse fashion, the exterior walls seemed to be missing, and the makeup seemed to be a more complex system of empty frames leading in on themselves, all intertwining down to a rectangular shape at the ground level, occupied by a single pale pink door. Hanging down from the tops of the frames randomly and sporadically were numerous bodies, still as the air. Some of them still had faces, some of them didn't. The party didn't look for long. Smith-Jones tried the doorknob, and it worked. The door was unlocked. As they all filed in, they found themselves in a pale blue room with paintings covering the walls. Almost like a child's nursery, clouds were painted on the ceiling with a bright yellow sun in one corner, with the walls being occupied by various zoo animals such as zebras and giraffes. However, some of the animals painted were unrecognizable to the party. At foot level, the ground was painted green with patterns of grass and various flowers dotted around the small rectangular room. There was a blank TV screen near the ceiling at the center of the far wall, and as the party took in their surroundings, they realized some people were missing. Smith-Jones and Fuzzley had disappeared. Hayden, Jace, Popa, and Jeffrey looked around the room for any doors or latches they could have gone through, but upon further inspection, even the door they had entered through had disappeared, leaving them trapped. As they discussed their next plan of action, Jace noticed something in the corner of the room. Something that looked like it shot directly out of the 1950s. A gumball machine. With a label on the glass that said, "Wild Times, Gumballs." As they examined the machine, they spun the wheel and found that even without change, it dispensed a single gumball. After consuming said gumball, they would have to roll a D100 and Poyo would determine from a custom wild magic table what would happen to them. For example, if they eat a gumball and roll a 36, they might have smoke billowing out of their ears for an hour. However, if they roll a 72, they might turn everyone into goats for 10 minutes, etc. It could be anything. However, in this specific instance, when Popa consumed a gumball, he accidentally summoned a basketball-sized floating jellyfish creature with tentacles called a flumph, to which he named Sean. Poyo note: Sean was supposed to disappear after 10 minutes, however, rule of cool, Popa and Sean's friendship was so strong that Sean became Popa's familiar and he can summon him whenever with a "so dude" command. This will tie into the story later with Popa's enlightenment ability, where if he's consumed a psychedelic substance within the past 10 days, he can enlighten unintelligent or bound creatures. He doesn't even know that as I'm typing this right now. I'm gonna introduce that in like a couple months. LOL, he probably ain't even reading this, but that also explains the Gregory situation in the Feywild. After a while, the TV screen near the ceiling flashed on with childlike music accompanying it. A single word flashed on the screen as it changed to the next word and so on. New game, 4 players required. And a door opened from the floor, flush with the wall, in the far corner of the room. With nowhere else to go, they all entered.